a better thing to do than talking about movies. So we're about a couple of weeks away from the end of the year, and I still have a couple of movies I need to watch. Like, I'm gonna be watching Sonic this week. I'm gonna be watching A Complete Unknown, and also I'm trying to remember what's left. Mufasa's left, and I think that's about it for me to watch most of the major motion pictures that came out this year. There's still a ton that I haven't watched, of course, and I still want to see a couple of those movies for sure. And I need to make a list of that, but I'm just here to talk about some of those movies that I watched this year. It's been a big year for movies. I think it's the best out of the 2020s, the best year for movies for sure so far, 2024. And I know that a lot of people are like debating that or all that. For horror, indeed, I think it was a really solid year as well. And I do want to make my best horror films of 2024 because I saw Nosferatu already this week, and now I think I'm able to do that list. So that's going to be coming this week. I have a ton of videos coming this week as well. And I've been slacking a bit. I know I wanted to do a 28 years later theory video because I rewatched the trailer. I saw some of the comments that people left, and it got me thinking and really going back to that trailer to discuss it even more. So that's something that's going to be coming pretty soon as well. But best movies of 2024. So one of the things I was gonna do, I said earlier this week, but then I got caught up with other things this week, was I was gonna make a series of all of my favorite movies of 2024. It was gonna be broken down into months because I think that's the best way to do it instead of just making one really long video. Because I usually don't make videos longer than 15 minutes. I think 15 minutes is like the longest I've made a video this year, which was a long lake series. I haven't really dabbled into making videos longer than 20 minutes because I feel like those are very long. Like, I don't know. I just don't know if people want to see a 20-minute video for me. I usually try to keep them at 8 minutes max, but that's something I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with. But very great year for movies this year in January, starting off with the Sundance films and all of that came out, and then of course South by Southwest, and then I didn't go to Cannes. Cannes is expensive to go to all the way in Europe. I've never even been to Europe, which is so expensive. I looked it up for fun a couple of months ago, just because I was curious. I said, could we go to France? Could we go to Cannes? And I was starstruck with how expensive that is. So one day, hopefully, we will go to Cannes, but it is very, very expensive to go to Cannes. But no, the biggest festival I did go to was like TIFF earlier this year, and I got to see a bunch of movies there, which was awesome. But it is just a great year for movies, honestly, and I want to talk about them all for sure. I do have a review coming out for the Brutalist this week, which was one of the movies I think is going to be very high in award season for sure. And I do want to talk about all the awards contenders and everything coming out from the Golden Globes as well, because there's a ton, and I do want to discuss those as well. So very excited to get more into that, but I do want to also make a big list of the best of the year. And I don't know, I think we might just do like a poll on the channel like we did for the horror films of 2024, 2023, 2022. We are going to do the 2021 best horror film poll starting on Monday. And I'm gathering the list right now, and I'm just trying to figure out how to like put all of these films on there, but that will open up this week. So this week we will know what's the best horror movie of 2021, and then the following week we'll do 2020, and then the last week of this year we'll put the the five films that made it out of all those polls go up against each other, and we will find out what is the best horror movie of 2020s. Let me know if you're watching this, what's the best horror movie of the last 5 years you've watched that you think deserves to be like, that's the best horror movie of the last 5 years. I'm curious because I think we've had a great amount of horror movies in the last 5 years for sure. And it's very much so. 2024 has a lot of amazing ones that can definitely be up there. Starting early in the year with Late Night with the Devil, that movie was just incredible. I was very excited about that. Steven Seagal movies. Steven Seagal. I haven't seen a Steven Seagal movie in a long time. I know he's still making movies and all of that. But yeah, Late Night with the Devil was one of those like horror movies that I just really loved. It was so great, honestly. More David Dastmalchian for sure is what we need. And I saw somebody say that he should have been in Nosferatu because he was at the red carpet premiere for that, and I agree. David Dastmalchian would have been great in Nosferatu, but Next year looks to be amping up even more for horror films. And I do have a video coming out before the end of the year talking about 2025 horror films I'm excited about as well. And that is going to be, there's a ton of videos to do for sure before the end of the year. 2025 just looks great as well with so many films lined up as well. And I'm excited to talk also about some of these festivals. We already have the Sundance lineup that just dropped, and the Midnighters sound really good. The Ava DeVere A24 horror film, that sounds great. It's called Opus, and it's very interesting. So I'm going to look it up right here. Let's go through the Midnighters for Sundance because that's like what's coming up pretty soon in the next month or so, and I'm excited to talk about those. I will do a whole separate like short for it because there's so many great Midnighters. Of course, this year and last year, Talk to Me last year was one of those really great Midnighters at Sundance. Everybody was talking about. In a Violent Nature was a one for this year, which wasn't, I would say, as universally loved as Talk to Me was. If you've watched In a Violent Nature, for sure you know what I'm talking about. It definitely was one that didn't really take off with a lot of people, but it was talked about a lot still because a lot of people were wondering about what exactly was the point of it. And I'm curious what they're going to do with In a Violent Nature 2 because that has officially been announced as well. So we'll see about that. So I'm gathering the midnight films from Sundance. So in Sundance 2025, we have a film called Dead Lover. So this is called Dead Lover. It is going to be coming out at Sundance. And this one basically says a lonely gravedigger who stinks of corpses finally meets her dream man, but their whirlwind affair is cut short when he tragically drowns at sea. Grief-stricken, she goes to morbid lengths to resurrect him through madcap scientific experiments, resulting in grave consequences, unlikely love. So well, that's pretty interesting right there. This year had some really great movies, like definitely the horror films that came out were so great. They had Smile 2, also Terrifier 3 was another one that a lot of people were definitely excited about. And there's still so many that are still coming out that I'm excited to check out for sure that I didn't get a chance to see, like some people are talking about on Shudder with Daddy's Head and all of that. That's a movie I still have to check out for sure. Definitely one I'm excited for as well. And it's interesting that we get so many of these. So the film Opus right here from A24, Ayo Daviri, it says a young writer is invited to the remote compound of a legendary pop star who mysteriously disappeared 30 years ago. Surrounded by the star's cult of sycophants and intoxicated journalists, she finds herself in the middle of his twisted plan. So that's definitely one of those movies that I'm curious about what they're going to do with this one for sure. And, you know, there's also a Dev Patel film coming out. Dev Patel, of course, had the film Monkey Man earlier this year, which was definitely one of those movies that really pushed, I would say, the action genre. I know a lot of people really weren't excited about it or really didn't know how to feel about it, but I think it had its moments. But this new horror film he has, Rabbit Trap, is definitely sounding interesting. It says, when a musician and her husband move to a remote house in Wales, the music they make disturbs local ancient folk magic, bringing a nameless child to their door who is intent on infiltrating their lives. So, got a little tongue twist right there. But that's another one from Dev Patel that's going to be coming out at Sundance, and it sounds very, very interesting for sure. So we have another one here with Dave Franco and Alison Brie, and I'm excited about this one because I think that there's a lot here. Dave Franco and Alison Brie, they just had a film they were in together, which I believe Alison Brie also directed. Well, this one's called Together, and it says, with a move to the countryside already testing the limits of a couple's relationship, a supernatural encounter begins an extreme transformation of their love, their lives, and their flesh. It stars Alison Brie, Dave Franco, and it's going to be good, I feel. The next one is a film that is called The Ugly Stepsister. And I've been hearing a lot about The Ugly Stepsister even before it got announced for Sundance. I believe that this is already acquired by a company as well, so we're probably going to see this one fairly quick. It says, in a fairy tale kingdom where beauty is a brutal business, Elvira turns Elvira battles to compete with her incredibly beautiful stepsister, and she will go to any length to catch the prince's eye. So this one is like sounding like we've already gotten a ton of these like fairy tale type movies, especially with the Peter Pan movie, Winnie Pooh, Blood and Honey, and all of these other ones. It definitely does sound up that alley for sure, and I'm curious to see this one for sure. A lot of these I'm going to be talking about in shorts pretty soon. Probably will try to upload that today, maybe the Midnighters for Sundance, because there's a lot here that I'm excited to hear how they're going to be for sure. But definitely so many movies in 2024 to look out for, and just very, very excited for that for sure. So mostly the Ayo Edebiri